For over a century, Earth had been silent. After the fall of Europa Station and the collapse of several outer colonies, humanity vanished from galactic politics. No ambassadors, no warships, no transmissions. The galaxy assumed Earth was broken, beaten, finished. They were wrong. Far from the galactic core, beyond trade routes and alien patrols, Earth had quietly been building deep inside the asteroid belt. Hidden stations and secret shipyards worked day and night, not for war, but for survival. Now the silence was about to end. On a cold command deck lit by soft blue lights, Commander Rhea Morgan stood motionless. Her eyes stared at a glowing screen that blinked red. Emergency alert, Ars-9 under attack. The message repeated over and over. Ars-9 was one of the last functioning colonies in the outer reach. Isolated. But it had people, families, engineers, farmers, all under Earth's flag. Rhea's jaw tightened. She turned to her crew. How many ships did they send? Her tactical officer, Lieutenant Dre, responded without emotion. Zareth Empire Task Group. 17 cruisers. 5 heavy frigates. No warning. No communication. Rhea took a slow breath. And Ars-9. Defenses minimal. If they land, it's over. A long silence filled the room. The Zareth Empire had pushed deep into unclaimed space over the past decade. Their arrogance had no limits. They believed Earth would never fight back. And until now they were right. Rhea raised her voice. Initiate Shadow Protocol. All eyes snapped toward her. Commander, Dre asked carefully. No more hiding, she said. Alert High Command. Bring the fleet online. It's time. Within moments the hidden shipyards inside the asteroid belt came alive. Massive blast doors opened, revealing dozens of sleek black warships shaped like blades. Silent engines lit up in sequence, and cloaked hulls shimmered into motion. The Shadow Armada, Earth's secret fleet, was waking up. Across the galaxy, on the command ship of the Zareth Empire's invasion group, Overlord Krellin watched his screens with satisfaction. Human signals were weak. No fleet in sight. Just scattered transmissions and emergency beacons. He leaned back in his throne-like chair and laughed. Pathetic, he said aloud. This is the strength of Earth. His officers chuckled with him. Krellin stood, lifted a comm device, and began broadcasting a wideband message. To the humans of Ars-9. Your time is over. Surrender, or be erased. Earth had its chance. Now it belongs to history. Back in Earth's command center, Rhea listened to the broadcast in silence. When it ended, she looked to her crew. He thinks we're weak. Let's show him how wrong he is. A faint hum echoed through the ship as more warships joined formation, silent shadows moving into position. Earth hadn't been defeated. It had been waiting. The sky above Ars-9 burned. Flames streaked through the thin atmosphere as Zareth cruisers entered orbit. Their hulls glowed red, cutting through the clouds like blades. The colonists on the surface watched in silence, their faces pale. They had no weapons strong enough to stop an invasion. The local defense towers fired a few desperate shots. Blue beams reached upward, but they bounced harmlessly off enemy shields. Inside the colony's command post, Governor Lyron stood over a flickering table display. Red icons filled the map. We don't have long, she said quietly. There were no escape ships, no reinforcements, no help. Earth had been silent for so long, no one expected a reply. On board the Zareth command ship, Overlord Krellin smiled as he watched the colony's feeble resistance. He turned to his second-in-command. Begin ground preparations. I want full control by nightfall. The officer saluted. As you wish, Overlord. Krellin looked again at the planet below. Humans used to be feared. Now they crawl. He gave the order. Drop pods launched from the underbellies of the cruisers. Thousands of them headed straight for Ars-9. Back in the asteroid belt, deep within the hidden heart of Earth's defenses, Commander Rhea Morgan stood on the bridge of the EHS Vindicator. Around her, displays lit up as signals from Ars-9 filled the room. Drop pods have landed, reported Lieutenant Dre. Zareth troops are sweeping Sector 4. Ria's voice was calm. Begin deployment. All warships to active formation. Activate cloak drive. The fleet responded instantly. Dozens of warships, sleek, black and silent, moved into the darkness. Their hulls shimmered as the cloaking fields engaged. Engines made no sound. They became ghosts in the void. Commander Ria looked out through the reinforced view glass. Plot intercept. We strike before they consolidate. In the shadows of space, Earth's warships traveled fast and unseen. They moved in perfect silence, using jump relays and gravitic boosters. Every movement had been practiced for years. This was no rushed defense. It was a carefully planned response. For too long, Earth had waited. Now, it moved. On Ares 9, explosions rocked the colony as Zareth troops marched through broken streets. Civilians hid in shelters. Screams echoed through the underground corridors. Governor Lyron huddled with the last few security officers. "We can't hold this line," one said. "They're everywhere." Lyron gave a tired nod. "Then we fight here. This is our home." Suddenly, the comms panel lit up. A new signal flashed on screen. Source unknown. Message: help is coming. Hold the line. Lyron stared at it. "Is that real?" No one answered. But for the first time in hours, hope returned. In open space, just outside Zareth's scanner range, Earth's fleet reached position. Commander Morgan gave her order. "Decloak on my mark. Target their orbital command ship first." The ships held position, engines ready. Tension filled the air. Mark. One by one, black warships appeared out of the void. Glowing weapons powered up instantly. Their formation was perfect, silent and sharp. Before the Zareth fleet could react, the first barrage was fired. Beams of white light and kinetic slugs slammed into the nearest enemy vessels. 3 Zareth cruisers were torn apart in the first 10 seconds. On Kralen's command ship, alarm screamed. "What is that? Where did they come from?" His officers scrambled. "Unknown fleet. Human signatures. Advanced tech. More advanced than anything we've seen." Kralen stood frozen. "That's not possible." Earth was finished. More enemy ships exploded outside. It wasn't just a fleet. It was a force built in silence, waiting for the right moment. Commander Rhea Morgan spoke over the fleet-wide channel. "This is Earth's answer. Fire at will." Space lit up with fire. The black warships of Earth, sleek and silent, tore through the Zareth fleet like a blade through cloth. The surprise attack had left the alien ships scattered and confused. Their tight formation broke apart in seconds. On board the EHS Vindicator, Commander Rhea Morgan gave calm, precise orders. "Target their engines. Cripple. Don't chase. Let them know we control the field." Her voice was steady, cold, focused. Across her fleet, gunners locked on enemy ships. Bright blue beams fired in controlled bursts. Explosions followed. One Zareth destroyer lost power and began to drift. Another tried to flee, but its engines were ripped apart. Inside the Zareth command ship, panic spread. Overlord Krellen slammed his fist against the control console. How did they build this? Where did these ships come from? His officers gave no answer. They had never seen human vessels like these. Ships that moved without sound, hit with perfect precision, and vanished before being targeted. "Get me reinforcements," Krellen barked. "I want their fleet crushed." But it was already too late. Earth's ships weren't just powerful, they were smart. Each vessel was supported by AI combat systems. These systems tracked enemy movements, predicted attacks, and changed formations in seconds. Earth had built its fleet for a future war. Now it was finally being used. On the bridge of the Vindicator, a tactical officer reported, 17 enemy ships disabled, 8 destroyed, minimal damage on our side. Rhea nodded. "Send signal to Ares 9. Let them know we're here." A coded pulse was sent down to the colony. Inside the shelters of Ares 9, Governor Lyron watched the skies through a cracked viewport. She saw fire, but it wasn't falling toward them. It was burning upward. Alien drop pods exploded mid-air. Zareth soldiers began to retreat. Then a message appeared on her terminal. Earth fleet engaged. Stand by for evac. Tears filled her eyes. They came back, across the battlefield. Earth's ships pushed forward. They moved in waves, always in control, never reckless. Their armor reflected light like water, and their weapons struck with perfect timing. Each hit was planned. Each move was deliberate. Krellin's fleet was falling apart. His officers shouted, desperate for orders. Ships blinked out from the sensors. Some were gone, vaporized. Others drifted, broken and powerless. This is impossible, he roared. They were nothing. They were defeated. One of his captains turned to him. Overlord, we underestimated them. Krellin's eyes narrowed. Then we bring our full force. I will not lose to ghosts. Back on the Vindicator, Rhea studied the star map. Her fleet had complete control over the Dairos expanse. Reinforcements from Earth were on the way. More warships, more support. We won the first strike, she said softly. But this isn't over. She turned to her officers. Prepare for counterattack. Krellin won't run. Not yet. The fleet adjusted position, forming a wide shield between Eris 9 and deep space. No more colonies would fall. Not while Earth stood. News of the battle spread fast. In hidden stations, in old colonies, in abandoned outposts, humans heard the signal. Earth fights back. And for the first time in years, they believed. The stars above the Dairos expanse pulsed with tension. Commander Rhea Morgan stood on the bridge of the Vindicator, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. Red blips flooded the screen. Krellin's reinforcements had arrived. Hundreds of ships spreading across the sector like a storm. They brought their whole fleet, said Lieutenant Dre, voice steady. Rhea didn't flinch. Let them. Overlord Krellin's flagship floated at the center of the formation, surrounded by wave after wave of warships. The sheer number was terrifying. Battle cruisers, carriers, destroyers, nearly 400 vessels strong. He stared coldly at the display. The humans won one skirmish, he growled. Now they face war. His fleet began its slow advance, weapons charged, formations tight. This ends today. Back aboard Earth's flagship, the tension was growing. Rhea turned to her communication officer. Open channel, all ships. The officer nodded. Her voice rang out calm and firm. We've trained for this. We've planned for this. Stay in formation. Watch your flanks. Use the AI overlays. Trust your crew, and trust the fleet. Today we fight for every colony they tried to erase. Across the fleet, crews nodded, eyes focused. They were outnumbered, but they weren't outmatched. The battle began without warning. Zereth heavy cruisers opened fire first. Plasma bolts lit up space in long bright streaks. Earth's warships moved like shadows, shifting in unison. AI defense grids anticipated each volley, adjusting shields and counterfire instantly. The Vindicator returned fire, leading the first wave. Her twin particle cannons roared through the void, slicing into enemy hulls. 2 enemy destroyers went dark within seconds. Dozens of smaller Earth vessels weaved between the larger ships, their speed and precision unmatched. Their weapons were smaller, but sharper, more accurate. They targeted engines, reactors, and comm relays. The Zereth Empire wasn't fighting just ships. They were fighting strategy. Krellin gritted his teeth. These tactics, they're not human. His tactical advisor shook his head. They're better. Back on Ares 9, Governor Lyran watched from the surface. The sky above looked like it was on fire. She could see trails of light, flashes, and silent bursts. The people in the shelters whispered, prayed, and waited. One of her aides looked up and said, "They're still holding the line." Lyran nodded. "So we hold too." Commander Rhea's fleet split into 3 lines. The first wave engaged directly. The second worked to flank. The third held back, guarding the colony. This wasn't random. It was a trap. When the enemy fleet pushed forward, chasing Earth's lead ships, they exposed their sides. At that moment, Rhea gave the order. Flank teams collapse now. From both sides, Earth's warships struck at once. Massive blasts hit the Zereth command vessels. Fire tore through the enemy ranks. Ships spiraled out of control. Some exploded, others lost power and drifted into the black. Krellin stared at the chaos. He had brought numbers. Earth had brought skill. "Pull the command wing back," he shouted. "We regroup and strike again." But his command signal was delayed. Earth's jamming tech had just gone live. Lieutenant Dre turned to Rhea. "We've broken their middle line." Rhea nodded. "Push forward, but keep our rear secure. This isn't over yet." As Earth's fleet advanced, more colonies began to signal. Support messages flooded in. "Earth lives, we see your fight. Humanity stands united." For the first time in a century, the colonies remembered what it felt like to believe in something bigger. In space, the battle raged on. Flames danced across the dark, and Earth's fleet held strong. The battle in the Dairos expanse had turned into chaos. Zereth's ships were scattered. Fires burned across the sky. Wreckage drifted silently through space. Still, the enemy fought hard. Even with half their fleet damaged or destroyed, they refused to retreat. Commander Rhea Morgan stood calmly on the bridge of the Vindicator, her eyes steady as the tactical display blinked with constant updates. "We've crippled their central command ships," reported Lieutenant Dre. "But they're not backing down." Rhea gave a firm nod. "They won't stop until we break them completely." She turned to her operations officer. "Is the Archon ready?" The officer hesitated for a moment, then replied, "Yes, Commander. The dreadnought is in position." Rhea spoke one quiet word. "Deploy." Far beyond the front lines, hidden behind a field of drifting asteroids, a massive vessel powered up. The Archon, Earth's most powerful warship, moved slowly into the light. It was 3 times the size of the Vindicator, with thick armor, glowing energy cores, and weapons never before seen by alien eyes. It had never been used in combat. Until now. The Zereth scanners picked it up too late. By the time they noticed, the Archon had already locked onto its targets. Overlord Krellin saw it on his screen and froze. "What is that?" None of his officers had an answer. The dreadnought didn't match any known human design. It looked like a fortress flying through space. The Archon's main cannon began to charge. A soft hum echoed through the fleet's comms. Then it fired. A beam of white energy shot across the battlefield, slicing through space like lightning. It passed clean through a group of Zereth warships, 30 enemy ships disabled or destroyed in a single hit. Krellin's command ship shook violently. "They have a superweapon." Someone screamed. Panic spread. Commander Rhea watched silently as the Archon's shot faded into the stars. Her voice came through the fleet channel. "We held back because we had to, not because we were weak." She turned to her comms officer. "Send a message to Krellin." On board Krellin's ship, the message came through. It was short. Clear. "We were never gone. We were watching. And now we are done hiding." Krellin stared at the screen. His pride burned. His ships were being torn apart. His fleet was in ruins. "We underestimated them." His second-in-command whispered. "No," Krellin said, voice bitter. "We forgot what they were capable of." Across the battlefield, Earth's fleet pressed the advantage. The Archon continued to fire at long range, cutting down any ships trying to regroup. Smaller Earth vessels cleaned up the flanks, targeting the last Zereth resistance. Several alien captains gave the order to retreat. Others shut down their weapons and surrendered. Only Krellin held on. On the bridge of the Vindicator, Rhea watched as the enemy formation collapsed. "They've broken," Lieutenant Dre confirmed. Rhea nodded once. "Send recovery teams to Ares 9, then lock on Krellin's ship." A new set of weapons charged. "Let's finish this." But before Earth could fire, Krellin's ship vanished, a jump drive activated. Rhea said nothing. She expected it. But the battle was over. Victory belonged to Earth. Silence settled over the Dairos expanse. The battle was over. Smoke drifted through space, lit only by the flicker of dying engines and the glow of drifting debris. Earth's fleet hovered in formation, their weapons now quiet, but still ready. On board the Vindicator, Commander Rhea Morgan stood at the main viewport. She watched the wreckage of the Zareth Armada float silently past. "We held the line," said Lieutenant Dre, standing beside her. Rhea didn't smile, but her voice was calm. "And we showed the galaxy what Earth truly is." Across the stars, word spread fast. From forgotten colonies to distant trade stations, humans everywhere listened to the same message. "This is Commander Rhea Morgan of the Earth Defense Fleet. The Zareth Empire has been defeated at the Dairos Expanse. Earth is not lost. We have returned. And we will protect every world that flies our flag." The message reached far beyond human space. It reached the Galactic Council, who had long ignored Earth. It reached empires who had mocked them, and warlords who had claimed their systems. Now they all listened, and paused. On Eris 9, people stepped out of their shelters for the first time in days. They looked up to the sky, where Earth's warships now shined like stars. Governor Lyran stood with her people. One of the children pointed to the sky and said, "They came for us." Lyran placed a hand on the child's shoulder. "Yes, and they won't leave us again." In deep space, inside the Zareth Empire's capital, Overlord Krellin stood before his high command. He was silent. His fleet had been destroyed, his pride shattered, and now his enemies were emboldened. One of his generals asked, "What do we do now?" Krellin clenched his jaw. "We prepare. Earth has returned." But in his eyes there was fear. Back on Earth, the skies were filled with activity. The Shadow Armada returned home, victorious. Crowds gathered across cities to watch the ships descend. For the first time in generations, Earth stood proud. Commander Rhea Morgan addressed the people from a broadcast tower orbiting Earth. She looked directly into the camera and spoke with quiet strength. "We did not seek war, but when war came to us, we answered. This is only the beginning. From now on, no human world stands alone." Across space, old colonies reconnected. Forgotten outposts powered up their transmitters. Abandoned fleets began to refit. Earth had shown the way. Humanity was no longer broken. It was united. And the galaxy would never forget the day Earth's fleet emerged from the shadows.